Hey guys, welcome to SheKnowsArsenal. My name is Jessica and I'm your host, and you can follow me on Twitter at It's Justino. Hey guys. So Arsenal 2, Rangers 2. Hey, we're moving up from losses. We're moving into the ties, the draws now. Look, I know some people are going to melt down. I already see Arteta out in the chat box. It's perfectly fine if that's how you feel. That's fine. I still am in it's just preseason camp. That's where I am. I saw a huge difference in our build-up play. We were a lot sharper today. Obviously, we started off with a team that looked more like the team that's probably going to be playing next season, or some players that are actually going to be in the team. So I actually enjoyed the game. I enjoyed what we were doing in our build-up, and we created a lot of chances. We just didn't finish them. Like, you know what I mean? So the last game, we weren't creating anything. We looked like a team that had never kicked a ball before. And now we look like Arsenal missing chances. So, hey, we're getting closer to what we know, right? So there's about 70 of you guys watching. Make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel. And we're going to be talking Tavares. I mean, what a way to make a debut, like to announce yourself at Arsenal, a goal on the day. We'll talk about Aubameyang. Should we be worried? Set piece coach, like, are we just going to derail everything that we did last season and now we're going to be giving up goals? I don't know. It looked weird. I don't know. And right back, Cedric. Oh my gosh. It's like, it's beyond rust. It's beyond rust. I think the guy is not good at football. Like, it's actually crazy. And we'll get some of your questions and all that. And so I'm going to go ahead and bring in my friends. Souls. Hey, Souls.
How you doing? You good?
Good. And George.
Hello. How are you?
Well,
Okay.
you upgraded your background.
Where are you? Is this a new background? Or what is this?
I am home. It is early for us in Canada, and so I am home, and this is like my bed background.
I love it. I love it. This is amazing. So, no longer in the storage closet or wherever the fuck you were.
I've upgraded, guys. You know, as we got a tie in preseason, you know, a draw gave me a new background. So
I know. Well, I like it. I like it, to be honest. So, where do we want to start? Let's start off at Tavares. Let's just start off on a good note. You know what I mean? Like, what me and Souls were kind of talking about this in the Twitter spaces before the game. That, you know, I was never really worried about him, to be honest, you guys. I just thought the whole thing about the Benfica fans is that basically he just offended one of their favorite players, Grimaldo, and then it just spiraled into something else. From a player profile standpoint, I like him, and he's so athletic. Like, he's so athletic, like, and we need more athletes in our team. Came in, looked sharp from the very beginning, had some, you know, missed passes, but everybody did. But basically a solo goal, you know, just did his own thing. I couldn't be happier with the way that he made his debut. So, George, what did you think of Tavares and what he showed today? I know it's just preseason, but, you know, let's just at least talk about it.
No, I think he showed a lot more than what I was even expecting. So a lot of the same flaws I felt like we highlighted before are there, in a sense of, look, positionally, He is somebody that likes to stay high and wide very much. He doesn't have that first 5-yard pace explosion. I didn't really see that. But what really surprised me was how quick his feet were. And I wasn't expecting that. So he clearly needs about 10 or 15 yards to get going. But once he does, he's very fast. And he is in that almost Kyle Walker type mold where he isn't a quick runner off the start, but you give him some time and space, he's really quite quick. He definitely looked a lot more physical, and yeah, his fast feet in tight spaces really surprised me because I didn't think he was that technical, if I'm really being honest with you. I think he is a lot more technical than we even think. He's got that nice cut back in space, so a lot of these lefties that are on the wing really have that. And for me, that little Cruyff turn, it opens so much possibilities because I actually think that's something that, Kieran can actually work on, those fast feet in tight spaces. And he has that. He's got some varied passing. I was really impressed. I wasn't expecting the level of impetus going forward. And, he was demanding the ball and just how he was playing his passes forward. I think, it's very easy coming into a new team, not to demand the ball, even if it is preseason. And even if it is, a weak opposition in your mind. And by the way, Rangers aren't weak. Like, we'll probably get into that later. But strong opposition, he's demanding, and he gives the ball to his teammates. I just saw a lot of positive signs from him. He was honestly one of my rising stars in the match because I just was not expecting that level of technique from him. I simply wasn't. Maybe it was bias from, where he was coming from, but I was very impressed.
Yeah, I remember you being optimistic yet cool on him when we signed him, so I get that. And I wasn't like overly, for me, it was more about the deal and knowing that if it went wrong, we're still okay. And you're still addressing a position that we actually really need. But I was impressed with what he showed. Again, with perspective, we know it's just preseason, but at the same time, that was a really good debut for somebody who I think had maybe some mixed reviews / negative reviews from Arsenal fans who had probably never seen him play in their whole lives. What about you, Souls? What do you think about Tavares?
Yeah, I think it's positive because it's a like-for-like replacement in terms of if anything does happen to Tierney, we know what Tierney offers he can bring. We've also got to understand he's a very young player, so even if his defensive side of his game is where a lot of people have been saying it's not great, you'll see the flaws in his game, but that's something, you can teach someone and they can develop. You still got time. It's not a Cedric where you bought him at 28, 29 or 30 where, yeah, all right, you can't really teach someone at that age how to defend at that point because all the bad habits are going to still be there. So I'm not worried. I think for a debut, it's as good as it can get. He fought for the ball. It was a good idea. The execution was a bit weird, but it worked out. That's one of the. But it was because of his determination to want to get the ball that got that goal to happen, and that's something which we've got to look at. And the one thing is, like, what does Tierney do really well? He can cut in, cut out. He can do both. What did we see with Tavares today? The same. He's willing to cut in, come into the box, and he's willing to go out and make a cross happen. And there's positive signs. And one thing that we've always said is, without Tierney, we look like a different team. Now, I hope, touch wood, nothing happens to Tierney, but if we're going off of last season, yes, he'll have like a run of 8, maybe 10 games, and then you'd be like, all right, is he going to get injured? If that happens, am I now worried going into the season? Hopefully he can continue this. I know it's one game and we're judging him off of 45 minutes, really, not even a game. But the signs are there. We can be optimistic from looking at his one game. And it is Rangers. Look, Rangers aren't a crap side to play. And he had to go against them. What's his name? Tanaver, or however you say it, who's arguably one of their standout players of the season. 19 goals it was actually, and then he had about 11 assists or something. He was their top goal scorer as a right back. And I think if you look at it in that perspective, did he really do anything bar the corner? Not really. I know Tierney, we know what Tierney can do. He can handle an experienced, wing back or winger. So we weren't worried about what Tierney could do, but I thought he'd done well, especially he in a way he was thrown into this game. Like, he's obviously, we knew he couldn't play against Hibernian because of the paperwork issues, and there was 1 or 2 pieces of like paperwork that they needed to submit before he could play, and that that was done for obviously this game. So he's probably had like 4 training sessions at most, maybe a few more. And to be demanding of the ball, to willing to make those runs, and actually to go that high up the pitch when Holding played the ball in is brave, because if that ball goes to Rangers, that left-hand side is completely exposed for them, or Rangers' right-hand side, depending on how you want to look at it, is completely exposed for them to go back and do stuff. So it's positive. I'm not going to get ahead of myself, but I like what I see.
Yeah, for sure. And Borat is saying, wasn't it Nuno who lost his marking when we conceded the first goal? I could have sworn it was El Neni and Balogun. I don't think it was Tavares at all. So, yeah, and I even thought about, you know, the opportunities that we may have to switch our formations with somebody like Tavares. You know, if we're in a game where we feel like we need to be a little bit more defensive, we can always play Tierney as the left side as center back and play Tavares as a wing back. You know, so it gives us more options. So I liked it. Again, let's not get ahead of ourselves, but it was a good debut. And some people are even talking about maybe playing him on the right. And we are about to get into the right back conversation because, yeah. Did you want to say something, George? Go ahead.
Yeah, the only thing I just wanted to highlight, look, you can tell a lot about what an opposition does to you in terms of the respect. And so what I mean by that is with Tavares, you know, look, it is only one game, but you know, Tavernier allowed him a ton of space. Now, that is an elite player for their side who, by the way, went invincible last season. I don't know if people know. This isn't a scrub Scottish team. This is champions of the Scottish Premiership that went invincible, and that is immense in any system. And he gave him space, and I can tell you why. It's because what he showed on the quick half turns and what he showed in technique said, I'm not going to press you because you're going to burn me. And that made me very encouraged, because this isn't just any old Scottish right back. It is somebody who people tout is excellent for us, you know, excellent that could make the step up, you know. And for me, I was just very encouraged about how quick he was in his decision making. I think that's been the key issue, not just technique, but decision making. You know, him going for that goal. I just want to highlight some more praise, because when you decide to attack the goal in that instant, in that split decision, that's been the difference for us in the entirety of last season. You can't say the same of our experienced forwards of doing that. And I know he's a defender. I'm not saying he's going to start doing that. But those are the positive things that you might look for as a scout. Like, does he attack space? Does he have the personality to go for it when he sees an opening and play the ball that's on? I saw all of those things. So, yeah, I just think he deserves extra praise, because, as, you know, Sol said, as far as debuts, it doesn't get much better. You know, he was solid defensively, got a goal, you know, impressed people that didn't think he had the level that, you know, he did perform at, and demanded the ball in a new team that, you know, he's arrived 4 or 5 days before. It's crazy to me. I think this is excellent. I'm really, really happy.
Deborah Ducky sent in a super chat. Thank you so much. Deborah Ducky says, can you name 4 players that have scored for Arsenal on their senior debut in recent years, 3-hour defenders?
I know Aubameyang scored. Gabriel scored.
Gabriel did.
Gabriel's one.
Cedric.
Cedric. Gabriel.
Aubameyang.
Kolasinac?
I'm not sure he scored.
No?
On his day. Did he score?
It wasn't like, well,
was
Marie?
It like
oh no.
Oh no,
we say 3 are defenders.
Yeah, so Alba was, I think, the only one who's.
So is it Tavares, Gabriel, and
oh yeah, yeah. I think he's included.
Tavares,
maybe
Gabriel.
Yeah, then that's the forward.
Yeah. I think we got it right.
I think.
Yeah, if we got it wrong, sorry.
I'm confident with Cedric, Gabriel, and obviously Tavares scored today.
Yeah,
but I think it was Alba that was the other one.
Can we talk about Cedric? I'm sorry. Like, he shocked me today. He really did. I was like, oh my gosh, are you so bad? Like, oh my gosh. Like, so when Pablo Marie came over and did that like foul or whatever, that crazy foul, and took the guy's legs out from underneath him, that was all Cedric's fault. Like, it literally was. Like, he just is so easily bypassed, and then watching him try to recover is painful. Like, it actually is. Like, and I know that he's probably rusty, but like, I think it's almost like beyond rusty, and I'm becoming more anxious about the right back position. I think Chambers obviously can be a backup, and we know Bellerin will probably, I mean, you look at Bellerin, I almost am like, I feel so bad for him, because the drop off is so massive, like from what he used to be to now. And I see that we need a star right back. It's actually becoming more and more obvious that we need it. And I know that we kind of said that maybe we could get by, but I'm almost like, should a team that has aspirations for top 4/top 5 be trying to get by with Cedric and Chambers? I think Cedric is almost like, I know this might be a little bit too reactionary, but hey, it's instant reaction, right? He's almost unusable for me at this point because I don't trust him. Like, I don't trust him at all. So, I mean, you guys have the same anxieties around the right back situation as I do. I mean, are quite strong on the left now. We're looking still like we need something on the right. Tavares could probably play there, but should we be trying to shoehorn people in? Like, now I'm thinking we need a right back, like a good one, you know? What do you think, Souls?
100%. You know, I think what scares me even more is the fact that I can't think of I can't see, nor have I heard of any right backs that we're linked to. And that's the concerning thing. I'm like, we know how important that role is in terms of we do heavily rely on our wing backs to make the build-up happen. And every time I don't know, Cedric could come good, but I don't want that to be the case. I don't want someone who's that old to be the main right back of our team. And it is going to be a concern if we don't get someone, especially, it doesn't really matter. We do need to sell Bellerin. I think if it's this window is the right price for him, then fair enough, we need to get rid. But my only concern is why we haven't been linked to anyone. Is Ben White going to be the right back that we're looking to play? And I don't think that should be the case. I don't think for me, yes, as an emergency where somehow all our right back options are injured, then yes, play Ben White there. But you can't take him away from the centre, in my opinion, if you really want to build a strong team for the future. And that's one of the concerns. We've seen it today. Every time we went on the right, I don't think any of us could really sit there and say we were confident something's going to come off this. I wasn't. Pepe for me as well, just holding the ball too much, and he could have passed it a bit quicker. Cedric, it's annoying because we don't.
Cedric.
I'm not confident. Yeah, I'm not confident at all. And the thing is, you could tell because everything came on that right-hand side or their left-hand side, however you want to look at it. And they didn't want to come down our left because they knew they were getting no hope, they were getting no luck. So every single time they switched it back to their left-hand side to come down our right and make something happen. And something was happening, and that's where the threats came from. So we do need to. I hope we get someone in. Am I confident we will? Probably not, because at this late in the window, to not even hear a name being mentioned is a bit concerning.
Well, they keep mentioning Mulder, you know what I mean? And I don't know really much about him. I tried to do some research yesterday. I haven't done enough, but is he at Tierney's level? Like, I just feel like at where we are as a club, like we should not be shoehorning and we should not be making do. Like, it's not good enough. And just looking at Cedric, he just blew my mind. I may wake up tomorrow and be like, you're a little harsh, Jess, whatever. I can be that, like, right after watching somebody play, but it's just not good enough. Like, you know what I mean? So I don't know. And I know, George, you want Riddle Baku. We're not even freaking linked with him. Like, I just can't see it. And honestly, don't you think he'd cost like 40 million? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't feel like Wolfsburg would give him away for just like whatever. Like, Are you worried? After seeing Cedric, I'm just like,
no, I'm not as worried as you two about it. I think really, I look at right back right now as kind of the position that I can get by with next season, particularly with Chambers. I don't think he's as bad as what people think. And in terms of, what Ben White will give us in terms of thrust from the center back, I think what people don't realize when you do look at these things, we tend to look at bad performances and want to sub in. So a striker's having bad output, we're going to say let's get somebody with output to solve that need. And I think there's a lot of indirect effects coming on. The thing with Cedric is I know he's a backup and I know his level, so I'm not expecting him to play anything more than 15 league games a season, and that's even high for me. Now if he does, then I just start to worry. But for me, I think Chambers is going to be the one there. Really, the reason that we don't have links, guys, is because we need 2 out. We have 4 right backs on the books, so it's just not feasible to recruit a 5th right back in terms of squad management. So if we were to get rid of Ainsley Maitland-Niles, Hector Bellerin, you also have Chambers, you have Cedric, those are 4 right backs. You can't pay more. It doesn't make sense. And so until those 2, mainly Bellerin and Ainsley Maitland-Niles, are gone, I don't think we'll see any links to a right back. I think they know it's an issue that they want to improve on, though, because that's the position that he's chopped and changed the most last season. So to say that maybe that's not a focus of our transfer, I don't know. I think it's simple squad management stuff. I think anything that we've shown this window, the one thing I will say is links don't dictate a plan, because we've gone there and we've put in bids for so many people. That takes an immense amount of planning. So I'm sure they've got one in. Look, on Rydal Baku, everyone knows that's my choice. I don't see a link for people that are saying I don't really go off links. I just tell you players I love. In terms of how much he costs, no, I don't think he costs £40 million. I mean, I'd say anything from 30 to 35. Look, based on the market, the upper range of the market has been 22, 25 million pounds, except for Buendia, who, by the way, came from Villa from a Grealish loss money perspective. That's not higher right now. Everybody that's in mid-level teams have sold from 20 to 25 million pounds. So I think he's above average. So I'd price him at 30 to 35 million pounds personally. And yeah, I don't think that's going to get done though unless you get 2 out. And I think that's kind of the reason. From an attacking midfield perspective, we've lost already in Odegaard, so that will come in, right? Xhaka, he's going. That center mid will come in. There's space there. I don't think we can logically say the same for right back, even though we really want it. So until they're gone, yeah, I'm kind of okay with not getting them as long as we fill in the holes in that midfield department.
I'll grab one. Can someone grab the other so we can get a right back in?
Literally, please.
Who do you want? I'll take Cedric for the Portuguese connection. I want to go to Portugal.
Who's easy? Who won't be as rough? Who's not so strong? Bellerin. I'll take Bellerin on. Go on, then. I'll take Bellerin. Yeah, I'll take him over to Italy. Italy's a good holiday destination. Is also
I think Bellerin is gone. You got I'm not really worried about Bellerin. I think he's off.
Me neither.
You know what I mean? I think Ainsley will get at least a loan, and then we'll see what happens. But yeah, for sure. So there's about 140 of you guys watching right now. Make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel. Gilbert says, Jess is saying Hector Bellerin's drop-off is massive, and I agree. Am I alarmist if I feel the same about Abba? Let's have the Aubameyang conversation now. Yeah, so yeah, I mean, he missed some easy chances. Let's just keep it in perspective though. If he's not getting in the positions, I think we should be worried, but he's getting in the positions, right? So he misses 3 really good chances, but his movement was quite good. I thought he was a lot more energetic today than he was in the first game. Am I worried? Not yet. But if we get further into preseason and we're still missing sitters, yeah, because that's kind of what he was like last season, So I think we all kind of have different opinions on the whole Aubameyang thing. But yeah, not a great game for him in terms of what we need him to be doing, which is finishing. We created quite a bit of chances, but there's a lot of I would say there's a lot of panic, and I don't even want to say it's panic because I don't think it's coming from a genuine place. I think it's just wanting to be upset about something, wanting to be alarmist about something. Honestly, we just need to get behind the guy. I think he just needs his confidence. I really, really do. And I just don't think I think the last thing he really needs to see on social media is people saying that he's finished. I see finished, going around finished, done, Ozil-less, Ozil type player, all this type of stuff. And I just think that's the wrong narrative right now. George, what do you think? Are you worried about Aubameyang? What do you think? Because 3 chances missed, but still getting in good positions. He could easily fix that, turn that on, right?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think there's 2 cases right here, because I always told people, I don't know what people expect in the Scotland preseason, because it's a throwaway. As a coach, your first week of preseason is not only fitness, but just coaching patterns of play. So the counter press and the build-up, that's really what you should be looking at. You don't hone in on the specifics of play when you're in your first week of preseason. So I do think that, your level of preseason expectation is different. And so if you expect Aubameyang at Premier League level firing capacity and he's missing those chances, then yeah, you should be upset because, that's what you're expecting. But to expect that after a week of preseason, I think is kind of, ridiculous, to be honest. I think the misses are bad, though. They are. You can't get away from a player of his caliber. He should be doing that in his sleep. But he's low on confidence. And for me, what he did outside of finishing was a lot more than what he's done in the season. In terms of his link-up play, his passing today, and it wasn't just his movement. It was a lot better that you don't associate with Aubameyang. And I don't see that praise on the timeline. Lacazette gets that praise, but, Oba was bringing a lot of people into play today in that first half. And, he was linking play a lot better than what people have seen and said in the past. So for me, I'm not too worried. I will get worried again, like I said, if it was later into preseason and, in the first 5 games of the Premier League. But it's a confidence thing. Like, everybody knows strikers are confident players. They are probably the most confident-led players in any position beyond goalkeeper. And, for that, he just needs a couple goals to get him firing again. It's not a skill thing. I find it very disingenuous for me to comment on finishing in a player in his career who's achieved 30 goal a seasons for over 5 seasons, and to say that he's lost the skill, I don't think is right. I think
they're saying he's finished. Finished is the word that I'm seeing. I'm like, that is so harsh.
Yeah,
like,
but their football knowledge is finished, and it really, like, they don't.
Yeah.
They lack it a lot.
Oh my goodness!
Like, he's poor. Like, I don't know why you can't be nuanced where you can say, look, that was a bad performance. That doesn't mean that you're a shit player. Like, I don't know why we can't have that nuanced conversation. Like, I'm not sitting here saying, Oba was prime Oba and he was amazing. No, like, he did some good things and he did some pretty bad things. But guys, that's preseason. If I told you a player in his first week of preseason is going to have some horrors, but also did some pretty good things, you'd be like, yeah, that sounds about right. And so for me, I'm just waiting to see if this carries over into the American preseason, because again, for me, that's when it starts to get serious, right? Like the last week of July, first week of August, that's before our first game. If I'm seeing the same loose touches and mentality then, okay, I'll start to worry along with you and the rest of the Twitter sphere. But right now, I'm pretty calm on it, I'll be honest. But I'm also that odd one that's always calm. So, yeah.
Always calm. We'll see about that. We'll see about that. We're going to make sure we rile Georgia.
Oba's my guy, man. He'll be back, don't worry. The thing is, right, like George said, man, like strikers are one of the positions where confidence is everything for them. And we've got to remember that, Aubameyang is...
I've never seen this picture before of George.
Whoa, looks...
Is that a beer in his hand?
Looks that way.
That's a beer, yes. Yeah. That's me at the cottage. You're seeing new sides to me today, guys.
You guys are trying to get George out of his shell. Essentially, we're trying to corrupt him. George won't say a bad word. He's always calm. We got to get him on one of them instant reactions where, well, hopefully we don't have those. But yeah, we need to get you on one of them. No, a watch along. That's what we need to get you on.
God. Yeah, watch along. You'll see a different side. You'll see Fraternity George back. That won't be good.
I just feel like it's still so mild. Like, there's no way you're worse than me. There's no way. Like, there's absolutely no way. Like, I'm actually the worst watcher in the world. But yeah, like with Aubameyang, I think we just have to wait and see. Like, those were easy chances that he missed, but he was in really good positions. On another day, he probably finishes those, right? But then we look at somebody like Balogun, right? And although I thought he looked okay, you guys, I'm still not sure if that's the person that, if Lacazette were to go, that would be the next person in line that I would feel comfortable with. I just feel like it's just too early. Some people said that he was poor. I think that's a little bit on the harsher side. What did you guys make of Balogun's performance? I mean, he did have one chance where it looked like he got fouled to me, to be honest. Like, you know what I mean? He was in on goal. It looked like he got fouled. He was lively. He did hold up the ball quite well, but maybe he could have done it a little bit better. Were you disappointed or just meh about his performance, or do you have a different opinion? Let Souls go first.
First, I just want to say that Aubameyang spin that passed to Pepe, that was pretty good. I was impressed by. But yeah, on Balogun, to be honest with you, it's expected. It's sort of his first start for Arsenal, where he's playing with sort of, the players he probably will be playing with, and you have to think about it's his first start with the senior players. He's only played in the Europa League alongside like maybe a Nelson, like Saka might have been there. It might have been Willian. This is the first time he's played alongside Pepe and Aubameyang. So you do have to. It takes a game or two to just read your players and teams in a game setting, and that's all it was for me. I don't think it's anything to be alarmed about. He is young. It's his first sort of season with Arsenal and in the setup and being inducted into what we call the senior team. I'm not even going to say I'll be concerned, but when I'll start to think, okay, maybe this is not the right thing to bring him in, is when we start to play the likes of Spurs and Chelsea, because they're going to be our last two games before the season starts. That's when I'll be like, okay, I'm not seeing enough from him. But I think people who are getting concerned or saying he's been poor or anything like that, I don't really know what your expectations were, firstly. They can't be that high. I know we've got high expectations of our youth players, but you do have to give them time to adapt. Not everyone's going to come in like a Saka or a Smith Rowe and their very first touch, they're going to make something happen. And I think there are positives, like his movement, his sort of for how tall he is, he has got good feet. Like in the box, he was like, even though he was in tight situations, he somewhat got out. But then there was that third defender. Look, even experienced players who have done this for 10 years struggle to get past the third defender. But he was always taking men on. He was always demanding the ball. He never shied away. He even if you looked at it, he had a header, which was the fact that he beat the centre back to that header was impressive enough as well. And I've said it, the result or the goals don't really matter to me too much at this stage of the season. It's got to be, what are they doing? Are they moving well? Especially for a Balogun who potentially, I know he played more on the wing or as a two. I kind of couldn't figure out what that was. I don't know whether it's a 4-4-2 and Balogun got this like free roaming position, or whether he was a second striker, or whether he was actually a winger. But his movement was good, and he was getting into positions where if Aubameyang was to miss the first header or the first strike, he was there to be the fullback guy, and that's what you need, and that's what you want to see. And even though he wasn't getting into the game, he wasn't scared to go into the box and take those chances, or try and take those chances. And I think it's just, as at the moment, it's just seemingly a team thing where finishing hasn't been good, and it will come. I think it's too early to start saying, are they poor or are they ready? I think when it comes to Chelsea or Tottenham is when we can really look at it and go, right, okay, I'm having a bit of concerns now.
Yo, are you guys worried about Aubameyang off of the left? I think that's the main thing that I took away from this. I do not like Aubameyang off of the left. And we have Balogun who plays to the middle, Lacazette that plays to the middle. Are you guys not concerned that Arteta might revert back to Aubameyang off of the left, which is like literally my least favorite thing like in the world? I'm not even kidding. You guys think it's fine?
Yeah.
Well, I really think that we get too nitpicky in positions, because it's not how they line up, at the start of the game is not where they're ending up at the end of the game. In fact, if you were to take a snapshot of, Aubameyang, I would actually argue all of his chances came in the box. I wouldn't argue that they started out left. And so for me, we really have this narrative, I think, that drives our opinion on players, right? Balogun didn't score, so therefore he struggled, and so therefore he needs more game time. Like, this is really strange to me. I think he spent a lot of time on the left wing, actually. So he started out centrally, but if you looked at the balance of play, he was far more on the left than he was in the center. And that was because, Oba was demanding it. I talked about this in an authority sense, where I was really impressed when he came with, with Balogun, I think last time, right? Balogun and Laka, what happened was Balogun went central a lot more, and, Laka kind of went out left. And I think they just swapped now. And that was just because when you're looking at personalities, I know that Oba doesn't market for some people, but he is an alpha personality in terms of what he does. And so he was able to command that a lot more. I really think that with this, It's simple. Balogun just had a preseason game. Last game he played well. This game he didn't score. I don't think that means that you're shit. He was doing a lot of the things I expect Balogun to do.
You cursed.
Oh, yeah.
There we go. See, they're corrupting me.
We're corrupting him.
They're corrupting me.
You know what? I didn't even clock. That's how bad it is. I didn't even clock that's like a bad word to say.
No, look, Balogun is fine. He doesn't need a loan for more consistent minutes and yada yada. Look, he's fine. What I really took away from this preseason, if we're gonna like kind of be a little bit serious about him, he has handled Scottish center backs with ease and has knocked them down with ease. And when I'm trying to translate that to a Premier League with, if I'm trying to translate that to a Lewis Dunk, a Brighton, something like that, I'm really encouraged about how he's going to hold up. Oba on the left, though, just to answer your question, look, I'm cool if he does it, but oh god, the comments are just getting on for that. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. I'll go back to the no cuss words.
Did it.
He'll be fine. Aubameyang's fine on the left. I don't prefer him like you, Jess. I don't like him on the left. Yeah, sorry.
Jeff.
It's just a mess. You guys got me flustered. I've cursed.
Just rattled.
I'm rattled. You see, I'm rattled. I've cursed. I've done, a name. But no, look, Aubameyang's fine. I prefer him through the middle. I'm sure we'll get into it. I was really impressed with Emile Smith-Rowe. I'll cave my analysis there.
Yeah.
But I think his form, though, the reason I'm saying that, his form won't allow him not to be playing and starting. And that means Aubameyang through the center. Like, if you're going to have a Madison that's going to come in and we're buying an attacking midfielder, anyone, I don't care who, Emile Smith-Rowe is starting as well. That doesn't mean that you can have Oba on the left with those three, along with Saka or Pepe at right wing. So I actually think, oppositely to some people, we'll see him a lot more through the center this year than we did on the left, which I don't think we could have said last season, because Odegaard wasn't the type of attacking midfielder that commanded that initial zone 14. God. I'm going downhill, guys. It's true. I'm finished. All right. I had a bright career, like you said. I had a bright career. All right. And I'm done. This YouTube thing, I might have to log off.
This is so funny. Like, I just love it. We've just disintegrated into just all type of tomfoolery. I love it. Okay. But yeah, like, I think ESR was good, but like, I don't expect anything different at this point. Like, it's not like shocking anymore that ESR is so good. Like, I think he needs better players around him, to be honest. I think he plays so well with Saka. Pepe was quite good. I think once they get their fluidity and they start playing together and we bring in another number 10, we'll start to look really good. Like, there's Smith-Rowe is one of those where it's like it's almost like Tierney at this point where you just kind of expect them to already be good. So it's like not that exciting anymore, but like still he's so good. So yeah, the Smith was very good today as well. I also thought Ainsley Maitland-Niles and Nelson were quite good. I know they're players that we probably are thinking that are not going to be here or whatever, but I thought Nelson was good, but at the same time, my thing with him, and it always will be, is like, where's the end product? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I need him to shoot. It just seems like sometimes he's looking for the pass a little bit too much. And I think that's what he'll get on a loan. Either he'll get it or he won't, but I think on a loan, maybe there's less pressure. So, I mean, Nelson was good. And I thought Ainsley looked good in midfield today. Obviously, I still think, like, please just somebody just put the bug in his ear, like, last chance, try to be the right back. But if he wants to play midfield, I think this was the best midfield performance I've seen from him in an Arsenal shirt, like, in a long time, So even with the fringe players, because the second group was definitely shop window FC, like 110%. But did you guys also kind of agree that, like, Ainsley Maitland-Niles and Nelson looked pretty good? They're still Arsenal players at the end of the day. They're Hale End, and they're really the only ones I care about. Did you think that they had a good game or not? Do you think something different? Either one of you?
I think Nelson needs a loan. I think that's what it is. And then I can properly evaluate whether he's got a future at Arsenal. He needs to stop being stubborn. He needs to really someone in his camp, family, friend or advisor or whoever it is needs to tell him that, look, you've got one of two choices. You either go, as in be sold from Arsenal, or you go on a loan. Because unfortunately, we're at a stage where we can't hope he gets better with Arsenal. We've seen what he can do, and don't get me wrong, he's not a terrible player, but he's just, there's certain elements of his game that lack to the degree that we do need it. And one of them is his final product, and we're not in a stage where we can teach that, especially not for sort of what he wants from us. So giving him a loan move where he can go and develop his play, maybe at Brentford, who play that sort of good flow attacking football, and that could be a good move for him to go there and learn the trade, especially when we look at Ivan Toney and Ollie Watkins and their development under Brentford. And it could really actually push him to become just better in the clinical stages of the third. And with Maitland-Niles, he again needs to stop being stubborn. He for me, his best position for Arsenal is going to be a right back. If he can't accept that, unfortunately, it doesn't matter how good he plays, he's not going to be at Arsenal. He can't be an Arsenal player because his best attributes suit that right back position. And to be honest with you, he can make that right back position his own because we don't really have anyone there that's good. And when we've seen him in right back, he's actually what we need and what we're looking for. And I don't know why he's being stubborn. I don't know whether it's he just wants to be a midfielder. He doesn't give a crap about whether he plays for Arsenal or whether that's somewhere else. That's what I'm getting from it. And the thing is, again, all he's had was about 30 minutes to play. So it's very, very difficult to gauge like actually how good they are or not how bad they are. But it was too little time to really make a good judgment of how they fare. And especially with Rangers pretty much taking their entire first team off basically and bringing on a lot of their fringe players as well. So it was literally fringe versus fringe here. And for the fact that they didn't do outstanding is a concern because the quality of Rangers at that point wasn't as good as what it was to begin with. And if he was playing the first half, would he have been any effect? Would there be any like sort of positives to take out of it? I don't know. And that's the concern, is when the opposition does get better, can he really push on? And that's why I think the loan move ultimately for Nelson is the way forward. For Maitland-Niles, maybe it's the end of the road unless he can accept he's a right back. Then I think he's got a future. That's just my perspective on both of them.
I think all the Hale End lads have their own unique situation. I think that Reece, he needs a loan bad, and it was not just beforehand, but it was very evident in this game. I think I could tell that. There was very simple things about delaying your pass for Willian, who, by the way, had a decent game. Whisper it. In his minutes. You're
Willian, banned. You're banned. That's it. Not allowed. No.
You said Willian.
You're finished.
You said Willian.
Yeah. Willian had a couple really good passes, but
We're just having a shocker.
What it was for me was that side, though. He was in space so many times, and Reece would trap the ball, and he wasn't releasing it to that outside option quickly. And those are basics. Like, you need to know how to do that in the Premier League, because that won't change. The only thing that will is speed of play. And so for your decision-making there, it has to be receive and give. It has to, especially down there when he's on the wing in space. You got to create that overload fast. And the fact he delayed for me was a very crucial thing, I'll be honest. I'm harsh on those things because that decision-making in the final third needs to be top tier if you want to be a right wing in the Premier League, period. And Bukayo does that with regularity. That's the difference that Bukayo has. It's not the technique. It's not the, the explosivity, because Reece has those things. It's the decision-making and football intelligence in those areas to make the right decision. So for me, he needs to get a loan and quick. On Ainsley, I've said it before, he could be among the best right backs in the league. But if he's not going to decide to do that, then we have to cut ties, essentially, with it and move on. He's 23. We've seen what he can do. It's time for us to either know his mentality going forward, because it's not a talent issue. It's an application issue. So if he's not going to do it, and we know that, we need to move on. On Joe, again, I think didn't see enough from him.
Forgot he was out there, to be honest.
Poor cameo. But on Joe, again, it goes back to, are we going 4-3-3 or not? And even if we are we playing with a free advanced 8 in a 3? If we aren't, you sell. If we are going to in the future and you have any consideration, it absolutely has to be a loan. And that's how I decide between loan and sell for Joe, really. And Eddie, last one from the academy lads. I mean, he had a clean finish. That was a clean finish. And, from last game when he lost all
to the fee.
That's
5
what I
million to the
tweeted, yeah.
fee.
He added a little bit. But you know what? Look, I just find it crazy how we went from he's horrible at finishing because he had a bad miss to then a very sharp finish in this game. And now suddenly he's back again. It's just crazy. But look, I think we should move on from Eddie. I've said it in the past. I don't think we have something better coming up in Balogun, in my opinion. So for me, it's a sell. So that's where I stand, I guess, on the Hale end, lads. It just decisions need to be made. And I think I'm just happy that there are links, right? Eddie and Ainsley both have links away in permanent moves to Crystal Palace. Joe is having that flirting with Newcastle. We don't know what the loan will be, but it seems like a loan is on the cards, right?
Yeah.
So we're making decisions. And Reece the other day, or yesterday, not the other day, but, he's pretty much off to Brighton, it seems, by all accounts. So, yeah, I think all futures are away from Arsenal, fundamentally. Some potentially for the future that can stay if philosophies change. But for the most part, I'm kind of done with the talent ID for 2 of them at least.
Yeah, I could not agree more. Like, it's just good players, but some of them are just not going to make it at Arsenal. I mean, if Balogun is having, you can't look at Nketiah and then look at Balogun and say, I mean, if they're close in range to each other, Nketiah has to go, because Balogun is just getting into the first team and Nketiah has been here for a while. And I know he did score, but like he should be scoring. Like, he's been here long enough where we should expect that from him. But that also doesn't mean that he's better than Balogun or anything like that. Like, definitely Nelson, Willock, and Nketiah, it's time to make decisions on them. I still think Reece Nelson might need a loan, and then we see what's there. But I actually don't even think he's playing in his right position. I just don't think he's a right winger. Never have. Like, I think he's something different. I don't think. He just doesn't strike me as a winger. Like, he just strikes me as somebody that plays more in the interior. But then again, where's the footballing IQ to be able to play in that position as well? So there's issues there. But ultimately, I think they had okay games, and it is what it is. And I guess I got to go back and look. You said Willian had a good game.
He had a great pass in between the lines that with them. I think for his standards, it was a very decent game. If you would go back, there's a slip pass that he did.
His standards are a shit player. So
I'm struggling to. I've got good polite George back on. I kind of malfunctioned for a bit. So
well, then we had the other one.
No, but his standards are to the floor anyway, so it's not really
yeah. I mean, it got that way towards the once we realized what we had, it was like, just don't be horrendous, like, you know what I mean? And it was just like good enough, you know what I mean? So, all right, before we get to some questions, before we get out of here, set pieces, like we were doing well last season with set pieces, and now we've all 3 of the goals that have been scored against us in preseason.
Panicking.
I'm not panicking. You have to talk about. Yeah. Can I finish? I finish, Souls? Can I finish? Come on. Okay, so you know what? I'm done. I'm actually.
Are you finished? Are you finished?
You know what? I'm not finished. I'm just.
We're all having a shocker.
I'm just getting started. So essentially, like, all I want to say is just, we've switched not goalkeeper, set piece coaches, and so it might be a little bit rocky here in preseason switching, because I'm sure they're not similar. I'm sure that we moved on from one, and the other one is going to have different ideas. Hopefully we can regain our solidity in set pieces. I'm actually like not super worried about it, because now I'm like, okay, well, it's just probably a little bit rocky. But from an offensive perspective, we have to be hoping for more, right? We're just not very good offensively. We're not really beating the first man. I don't know what we're trying to do, So is that something in the next season that we're looking to, that you guys are going to be having, like, making sure you're watching to see if we're improving there? Because I think that that's a part of our game that's just kind of dead. offensive set pieces. You know what I mean?
You know what, Jess? I think your critique can actually be more broadly painted with the team. I think everyone's going to be looking at attacking patterns, period. Attacking play, a bit more intense. Like, we've got great build-up, some great counter-pressing, and we've been solid in the back. Centrally too, we've been compact. We have those things. And I think we have those things in our set pieces. And that was one thing that, Andreas Georgesson did bring. We did improve defensively in set pieces, but we were poor offensively. And, with this Nicholas Jover, who we worked at with Man City, there is going to be a changing the guard in terms of understanding. So it's really tough to say, you have a catalog of a season of us being poor on set pieces and then only like 2 games in preseason. So I agree with you, though. It's something I'll be looking towards because that's a coaching change, right? So clearly identified a problem with what Georgesson was doing because, he moved him on in a year, right? And so in order to do that, he felt that there was an upgrade. I'm not too worried in terms of the set piece specifically because the people that lost their markers right now it was horrible play individually. Like, the marking wasn't an issue, but Bellerin on that second goal, my God, I screamed. Even Marie, who, by the way, should be getting there. That's ridiculous. That first goal, I'm not happy about those things because, guys, like, those are players that will have minutes this season, particularly Marie. And, he's so large, he should be getting that. So I like that.
At first I was like, my mug, like, do you mean my face? Like, what do you mean? Like, but he's talking about my.
But no, I'm not worried, by the way. I am not worried about the set pieces. I think we'll see it in time. I need like at least 15 games to see if the set pieces have improved or not. So maybe I'm being lame on the fence person, but I do need a little bit more time. But I am annoyed with some of the established. I will say again, I'm annoyed because, look, if I'm going to take away some lessons from preseason, and I'm sure like we'll wrap this up in terms of that, but the one thing that I'm annoyed with is I'm seeing a lot of the same mistakes from experienced players that I saw last season, and it's annoying me because these are the same players, with another preseason in mind. I'm trying to give them the benefit of the doubt, but I'm seeing a lot of issues. Like, Marie shouldn't be losing headers in the box. I'm sorry. That can't be happening. So,
and he's going to be starting next season. Like, I like Marie, but I'm really like not disappointed, but I am disappointed that Gabriel is injured. Like, you know what I mean? Because I know some people thought that Gabriel was poor, but Gabriel's just starting his journey. Marie is ending his. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he's never been good. Like, you know what I mean? So this is the best move he's ever going to get in his whole life. And he never should really be starting for Arsenal Football Club. I get we have some players that are here that, are good characters, but I worry about Marie starting the season. I really do, because I just don't think he's good enough, so it's just kind of like, I wish we could start off with our best possible back line next season. Like, you know what I mean? So I'm worried about, I think Marie's is just due to him just not being good enough. Like, you know what I mean? He's just not good enough. Some of them, established players, I just think they're lazy and they don't give a shit, so we'll see. But Marie is he's not my favorite, you guys. I have to be honest. I just have to be honest.
I think he'll be okay from starting a season. Just to like really quickly on the medical thing with Gabriel, it's not bad, guys. Like, just from a little bit of background for people that may not know, it's just inflammation of his patellar tendon. We kind of associate that with like jumper's knee. We call it in the physio world. It's maybe a 2-week rest, but then you're fine. Like, it's not a long, and he's actually dealt with it throughout the entirety of the season. If you looked, he was taped up in those same knees, and that's because he's just a taller player. So we associate that, but it's nothing serious. I fully expect him, by the way, to start Brentford, by the way. Like, it's not an injury that should keep him out for a month. So I would expect that. I'm worried about, like, Ben White. Like, I hope Arteta does loosen a bit on introduction to the team, because I think the one thing I'll say, it's not just youngsters, but he is cautious introducing new players to the team. We saw that with like Cedric, Marie, people that were struggling when we did buy them in January. He's slow to introduce to the team. And I'm just hoping that's not the case with Ben White, because I'm not about to see, Rob starting for us against Brentford.
You know what I'm disappointed about?
His hair.
Like, his hair. the hair transplant is just it's not quite there yet,
Hasn't taken it.
But Harry, our resident hair transplant expert said that he's in the David Silva stage, when he kind of like shaved it all off. So it should be nice and lush and full like soon, but it needs to hurry up because it didn't look good today. You guys I'm so not serious today. I'm sorry. So Yo-Yo says your opinions on the keepers. I thought Okonkwo did much better today than he did on his first go round. I don't think the goals were really his fault. Those were just like poor marking or whatever. But I think with the ball at his feet, he looked a lot more confident. He didn't have Cedric giving him a freaking hospital pass like to his neck, in this game. So I thought Okonkwo did quite good. And then Hein was okay. It just is what it is. Like they're young goalkeepers and we'll see what happens. But do you guys kind of agree with that they did good? Nothing really. I mean, those goals were not their fault to me. You know what I mean?
No, I've said that, Okonkwo, the last performance was totally nerves. It was a boy who loved Arsenal that, the occasion got to him. That was simply what it was. It doesn't kind of deter my projection of a keeper. Karl Hein, he starts for Estonia. He's an established international keeper at 19. He's just not, somebody that I think Okonkwo is more talented overall. I agree. He had better performances today. Look, what we did learn is I think people saw what I keep telling everyone about his feet and about how good he is with the ball at his feet. You can tell he brushes well with the technique of pass. Like it isn't just controlling. How he's passing with that little bit of curve and brushing of the ball is very confident. You're going to see that from Okonkwo. He's got excellent feet. So I'm just glad maybe some people saw that. But yeah, I'm not worried. He's a third choice keeper. And I keep telling people, how many games did Runderson start for us in the Premier League? 1, was it? Or 0?
I don't think he started anything in the Premier League.
I think, so that's what you're expecting. So are you asking, is Okonkwo going to start games for us? No. Was he supposed to? No. So yeah, I think Berndt's coming back and we'll need a backup keeper, right? We do need one.
Yeah, it's going to be one of those English boys, isn't it?
No, no, the Onana train. I am firm on my stubbornness here. I am very firm on it. I don't think we'll get an English one because we've got one in Okonkwo, so I don't see a need for it. But,
I would put money on it, to be honest, that one of them comes to Arsenal.
You gave me nightmares yesterday, Jess. I was dreaming that Ramsdale was starting in the new kit. I was dreaming that our next signing was going to be Aaron Ramsdale, and they were going to announce him at the away kit next Friday. That was my nightmare.
You guys get your questions in. I know some of you guys have put them out there like a little bit early, but I couldn't catch them just yet. So send some questions in. We're going to wrap up in the next like 10 minutes or so. But I saw something here. Scooby Nut. Scooby Nut.
That's a great name.
Is the 250 million transfer budget being spent well when losing to a 17 million SPFL Hibs team that finished third last season and 8th the season previously? This face 6 times. Look, I don't even know how to really answer this without just saying it's literally preseason. I see there's a lot of alarm and a lot of we're definitely going to get relegated next season. We're definitely this, we're definitely that. We had an upward trajectory, even though people want to ignore it, upward trajectory at the second half of last season. Obviously, it still wasn't good enough, but I mean, we really shot ourselves in the foot in November/December. So we are buying players. I still see that we haven't done anything in the market, which is absolute crap, you guys. We got Tavares, who played today. I don't know. How have we not done anything, but there was a new player on the field today? Lukonga's here. Ben White is, all but done, so I get that there's this apprehension and anxiety. And when you see us not playing well in preseason, you're thinking, here we go again. We're in for another season of misery. But at the end of last season, with as bad of a team as we had, we were a lot better than we were in the beginning of the season. And there was upward trajectory there. It's preseason. The first team that played against Hibs, that was everybody that we are not going to even be here or are not going to play. The first half of this game was good. our passing patterns were good. We were creating chances. Aubameyang missed 3 clear-cut chances. He puts those away, and we're not even having this conversation. So we have to have perspective, and we have to add context. And it's not to say that I think for sure we're going to be really good, or I think for sure we're going to get these transfers done. But I think without context and perspective, it just becomes a little bit of agenda-driven, alarmist, talk. And I can't buy into it. Like, this whole statement I just don't know. Like, and I think a lot of people are buying into it because maybe it feels comfortable to be like really panicked before the season starts, but I don't see anything to really be like freaking out about as of yet.
You know what it is, right? I want to just educate people about what preseason actually is. Preseason is to do fitness. So, the players obviously haven't had time to play football. Do you know, like when you miss a week at the gym, what happens is you get a bit tired on your first session back. That's what's happening here. Like, it's dumbfounded. Are these fans 1 year old or something? From like even my kid, like even a kid that I can have a conversation that's 2 years old has got a bit more brain. This, you know what it is, right? I know it's gonna sound like a rant, but this statement pisses me off. Like, it really annoys me when people are judging preseason as a it's like, all right, yeah, what about all those like trolls that used to say, oh yeah, you beat us, where's your trophy for it? Do you get a trophy for winning preseason? Oh yeah, let me give you an education lesson. You do realize that the preseason that the Invincibles had, I'm not saying we're going invincible or winning the league. They also didn't win a preseason game. Oh, they were shit then, aren't they? Why don't you just fire Wenger there? But no, because it's preseason. Losing a game in preseason is actually more beneficial than going into the season thrashing all these teams because they were easy oppositions, and you decided, let's just play third division teams and thrash them 6-7-0, learn nothing, come into Brentford and get our asses handed to us because we decided to go easy on the preseason. Us losing, now we know, okay, set pieces, that's a concern. We know that finishing, now that's a concern. We know that we've not got this leadership, we've not got this, wherever it may be, we know where we're lacking. So that's all it is. Like, that's what preseason is there for, is to find out your weaknesses before shit gets real. Right now, the pressure's not on us. We can play our game, find out what we need to do, treat them as a training session, treat them as a training game. That's all it is. We don't want to go into the season, with all this built-up confidence, all this sort of, yes, we just battered some next team that plays in the 4th division of, Senegal or something, and we thrashed them 15-0. Yes, we're going to win the league. We're not going to learn that way. And the one thing I am glad is our preseason is actually quite good. Like, we're playing Rangers, champions of Scotland. Then we've got Inter Milan, champions of the Serie A. Then we're going to go and play Spurs. Now, look, Spurs are Spurs, right? It could be good, it could be bad, but they are a derby. It's a tough game to play. Chelsea are the same. You're champions of Europe. We're not taking it easy because we want to know what the hell is going wrong with Arsenal. And the only way you can do that is by having some tough results, by having some results that don't go your way, and learning from. The ultimate thing is, as long as we learn, and it looks like we have. When we look at the first game to this game, have we looked better? Yes, because the passages of play were a lot better. We looked a little bit sharper. Is there room for improvement? 100%. But that's what this is for. I don't want to go into Brentford thinking, right, we've just absolutely wiped the floor with every single team we've just come into this with, because that's not going to do us any good.
Yeah. Yo-Yo says, do you trust Arteta to be more ruthless this season than last with regards to penalizing poor performances? I think we may need to do a show on just Arteta in general. I think there's positives to Arteta, but there's definitely things that he needs to improve on. We had our little marks about, maybe not being consistent with the senior players and the younger players. Like, maybe there was some inconsistencies there, and maybe not dropping people quick enough, maybe bringing people back in too fast, but I'm not quite sure. I think if we're talking about like, I think you really have to go player by player basis. I think we want the manager to be consistent on benching certain players when they don't play well, but we have to understand that like some players get more rope than others. It's just the reality of how the game works. It's like Do you think Messi is going to get dropped for, he wouldn't even get dropped for like 5 bad performances because he's Messi. Aubameyang is kind of equivalent to that. And even though he'll have more poor performances, I think Arteta will give him more rope because he trusts that he will get back in. Whereas you have other players where it's like, well, I just need to go ahead and drop him because I don't trust him. So do I think he'll be more ruthless? I still think there will be inconsistencies in terms of some players will get more rope than others. I think he trusts senior players more than young players. I just think that that's how it is. I think we just maybe have to, accept that because that's how most managers actually are. Most senior players do get more rope.
Sorry,
it happened to be Willian. You know what I mean?
Every manager is like that. I want to make that clear. Like every manager has their favorites that fans do not agree with. Every single manager. Okay, if you go to every single fan base, there's one player who is going to get more minutes the fans don't believe. Do I trust him to be more ruthless? I'm hoping that he becomes more ruthless in his management. Like, I think that's a valid critique. I don't think he was consistent in how he dealt with red cards last season. His level of outrage, I've said it before. How he dealt with Pepe and then Xhaka were very different. I liked the latter, and I thought the former was horrendous. But in terms of whether or not I trust Arteta, he's changed formations 3 times now in his tenure. And each of those times has resulted in a change of results. So do I trust him to recognize the footballing issues at the club? Absolutely. Do I think the minutia of a specific player getting more minutes or not will change? Probably not, but I'm saying every coach has that criticism. So while I don't agree on all of the decisions that, Mikel would make, I'm not going to sit there and try to paint a perfect manager that doesn't exist and doesn't carry those faults. Just really quickly on the preseason thing. Look, it's a fitness issue, but it's also a footballing decision, okay? Trapping a ball. Anybody who has played the game to any level, and has not played for a month is loose in their decision-making. Match speed and fitness are not the same thing. And I agree with Souls. We took a very hard preseason, by the way. Everyone's praising Chelsea for beating, Peterborough United, who just got promoted to the Championship 6-1, and are equating it with the Scottish champions who went invincible. Do me a favor. Come on. Like, if you're going to sit there and you're actually going to compare the levels of these teams and say, oh, we're behind based on this simple correlation, then yeah, you know what? You need to give your head a wobble. What we've done in the preseason is very purposed. I see a very hard preseason on purpose. Hibs, by the way, were weeks into their preseason. They start this next week, their preseason, okay? Rangers, they went invincible and were Scottish champions. Inter Milan, like you said, Serie A champions. Then we face Spurs, and we also, I believe, face Chelsea, don't we, in preseason? Yes. So we've chosen 2 top 6 teams. I see a very clear progression here from a coaching perspective, okay? I want to hit them hard with physicalness, so I go to Scotland, where they're ahead, where their season starts early. I hit the Scottish champions, who I know we don't have a great job with, in terms of physicality. I then go to Serie A. I want to see how do we fare against low blocks, okay? That's what we're doing, because we're going to have the ball against Inter Milan, and we want to see how do we face against the counterattack. And then we end with a nice little top 6 encounter. That's not easy, guys. So a coach uses preseason to build automatisms. It's not just fitness, which is a factor, but they use it to build pattern of play. And I'm sorry, this doesn't get fixed in a week. It doesn't get fixed after coming back from vacation, not doing where they do shut off. I'm sorry, they all run and they do that, but they don't get down and dirty in terms of footballing decisions. Nelson passing to Willian doesn't happen in the middle of a season. It happened now because he has games. But, him refusing to pass a couple points early is the difference between somebody playing the actual game for months and coming off a vacation. So, Look, I'm sorry if that's a little bit of a rant, but I really think people need to start understanding and stop doing this simple correlation stuff. Like, I think I saw today, Borussia Dortmund lost to VfL Bochum. Does that mean now that Marco Rose is ridiculous?
Don't mention that.
Yeah, PSG drew to a 3rd division team, I think it was 2-2 or something.
But because Chelsea won 6-1, that means something. Like, you guys, like.
And by the way, they played a fairly strong team, I heard. Because obviously it was done behind closed doors, so no one really knows. But from the sounds of it, Ziyech got a hat trick.
Cowards. Cowards.
Look, I'm just saying the preseason, that schedule is a lot more calculated than people say. We didn't just choose to go to America. We didn't just choose to pick Inter Milan. We didn't just choose to pick Hibs and then Rangers. It wasn't just because Arteta played there. Come on, guys. Like we and I don't mean you guys, but
simple.
people in the chat
I know what you mean.
like, come on, guys, just think about it. There's a reason we've chosen those games in order, by the way. How we started in Scotland, and then we're going to America to face Inter Milan, and then Chelsea, and then Spurs. There's a reason. And so I'm very encouraged by the scheduling of it. And I also saw this game generally, just last 10 seconds, was an improvement in the buildup that I didn't see in Hibs. So I saw the counter press in Hibs in that first half. That was what the 4-4-2 was. It wasn't a formation that we were using. We were just coaching off the ball pressing. And then today I saw that in action with our buildup. So I was encouraged. That was the next step. The following step, I expect attacking patterns now, which I saw glimpses of in the first half, much more in Inter Milan. So
yeah, can I be real? Like the Hibs game was definitely just pass it around and get the legs warm. They weren't even trying to do anything. You might as well have just been doing a passing drill. Like it really wasn't, and like George said, today was more the buildup. You could see the passing patterns really coming to the forefront. So I think there's a method to this madness. It's not just random. Nobody just goes into preseason random. That's not how it goes. And Cameron, George is Canadian. He's not American. I'm the American here. Do I know anything? Do I know anything?
Oh, he said he's spot on. I thought maybe he is talking about you.
Jeff.
But then he said he's spot on. Then I was like, all right, maybe not.
I'm about to put my new name is Jeff. Like it literally is.
My name is Jeff. My name is Jeff.
But we've already decided that like Souls is the passion, George is the heart and the brains, and Harry's the fun. Like I still have no role. Like
I'm the green beans in the roast dinner. I maintain that analogy. I'm the green beans.
Let's make Jeff feel better. Yeah, you can be the beauty of the team if you want, because that's the only the role. That's
the only role I get.
You will have to apply for it. We'll have to do an interview process. So we'll let you know when Harry's free, and we can get that.
I think Harry might be the beauty, to be honest.
Yes.
Harry, nice hair, always dressed really nice. I'm just here. I'm just here for the laughs, you guys. But yeah, I think ultimately, like, and let me just say this before we go. I think there's new people here, which is amazing. The channel is growing and it's really great. I think because maybe we're less reactionary, there's this idea that we just don't, maybe we're not taking into account the fact that we came in 8th 2 years in a row and, we're just too positive. But when the season starts, we will start to really analyze Arteta. Like we analyze both sides. Like it's not just all Arteta in. I don't think even any of us are really Arteta in. Do you know what I'm saying? Like we're just going by what we really think. So for me, it's like, I get that it's like, where is the Arteta out? Where's the outrage? You're probably not going to find that on this channel. You're probably not. But what you will get is perspective, context, good breakdowns. We try to go into depth and we just try to go a little bit deeper than just like our reactionary, thoughts, you know what I mean? But it's not to say that we're overly positive. I just need to see something to be negative about. Like, you know what I mean? I can't see it at the moment, but trust and believe. I mean, go back and look at the instant reaction after we were dropped out of the Europa League. Yeah, we definitely do both sides here as well, so yeah, but this was a lot of fun. Yes, I'm here for vibes. That's definitely what it is now. That's what I'm going to say. I'm the vibes. That's pretty much it. All right, you guys, make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel. I do want to do like a breakdown or something of Mulder. Like I will do that at some point, maybe tomorrow or something. I need to get around to make sure I actually know what I'm talking about. And yeah, so I'll come back tomorrow. And yeah, make sure you guys like the video, subscribe to the channel, and yeah, see you guys later. Bye, y'all.
We'll be right back.